Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri brihadbhagavatamrita ki jai, Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vranda ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, all glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna, all glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna, all glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. We'll start. No, it's the same. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki jai. Let's start with this prayers, recitation. If any of you like to lead the prayers, you are welcome. You can always come. It's just, as I said, just a matter of us repeating it. So if any of you feel comfortable, confident to even give it a try, you are welcome. Maybe next week, week after that. You can set up the mic and you can start the recitation even before we do. That's what we used to do before. It's just the prayers looked much more smaller. So don't get scared by the length. As I said, they are much easier. It's almost like prose. They're much easier to memorize. But you don't need to memorize. You can recite at your own pace. Madhusudani Mataji, you can take them. You can take a sheet from there if you like. Okay, let's get started. Shri Prarada Vacha Brahmadaya Suragana Munayota Siddha Satvaikatana Gatayo Vachasam Pravahai Naraditum Purugunai Raduna Pipipru Kim Toshtum Arhati Same Hari Ugrajate Manye Dana Bijana Rupa Tapashrutojas Teja Prabhava Balapaurusha Buddhi Yoga Naradanaya Hi Bhavanti Parasya Pumso Bhaktya Tutosha Bhagavan Gajayutapaya Vipradvisadgunayutadaravindanabha Padaravinda Vimukat Svapacham Varishtam Manye Tadarpita Mano Vachane Hitartha Pranam Punati Sakulam Natu Bhurimanaha Naivatmana Prabhurayam Nijalabha Purno Manam Janata Vidusakkaruno Vrinite Yadyajjano Bhagavate Vidadita Manam Tachatmane Pratimukasya Yata Mukashri Tasmadaham Vigata Viklava Ishvarasya Sarvatmana Mahigrinami Yata Manisham Nicho Jaya Guna Visargamanu Pravishta Puyeta Ena Hipumana Nuvarnitena Sarvehi Ami Vidikarastava Satvadamno Brahmadayo Vayamivesha Nachodvijantaha Shemaya Bhutaya Utatma Shukaya Chasya Vikriditam Bhagavato Ruchiravatare Tadyachamanyum Ashurascha Hatastvayadhya Modeta Sadhurapi Vrishchika Sarpahatya Lokascha Nivritimita Pratiyanti Sarve Rupam Narsimha Vibhayaya Janasmaranti Naham Bibemi Ajitate Bayanakasya Jivarka Netra Brukuti Rabashugradam Shrat Antrasrajah Shatajakeshara Shanku Karnan Niradabita Digibatari Binna Kagrat Trastosmyaham Kripana Vatsala Dussahugra samsara chakra kadanat grasatam pranitaha baddhasva karma birusattamate moolam pritopavarga sharanam vayase kadanu yasmat priya viyoga samyoga janma shokagnina shakalayo nishudayamanaha dukkaushadam tadapi dukam atadiyaham bhuman brahmami vadame tavadasya yogam soham priyasya shuhrda paradevataya leela katastava narsimha virincha gita anjasti tarmi anugrinan guna vipramukto durgani te padayugalaya hamsa sangha balasya nega sharanam pitaro narsimha nartasya chagadan udanvati majjatauno taptasya tat pratividir yahi hen hanjayestas tavad vibhot anubhritam tvadupekshitanam yasmin yato yarhi yena cha yasya yasmad yasmai yata yadutas yastva parapparova bhavak karoti vikaroti pritak svabhava sanchoti dastadakilam bhavatasvarupam maya manasrijati karma mayam baliyaha kalena chodita gunanumatena pumsa chandomayam yad ajayarpita shodasharam samsara chakramajakoti taretvadanya svatam hi nitya vijitatma gunasvadamna kalo vashikrita visrijya visarga shaktihi chakre visrishtam ajayeshvadashodashare nispidyamanam upakarsha vibho prapannam drishta maya divi vibho kila dishnyapanam ayushriyo vibhava ichchati yan janoyam yasmad pito kupita hasa vijrimbittabru vishpurjitena lulita satute nirastaha. I'll read the translation of Srimadbhagavatam 7.9.9. Brhad Maharaj continued, one may possess wealth, an aristocratic family, beauty, austerity, education, sensory expertise, luster, influence, physical strength, diligence, intelligence, and mystic yogic power. But I think that even by all these qualifications, one cannot satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, one can satisfy the Lord simply by devotional service. Gajendra did this, and thus the Lord was satisfied with him. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I sent a mail last night just about our online broadcast. So moving forward, because there have been requests from devotees attending online. As you can see, most of the devotees they attend online, either live or sometime little deferred. So they were also requesting to be allowed to ask questions during the class. To facilitate that, the online broadcast from today onwards will be done only in YouTube. And whoever wants to ask questions, either live or if you're watching later, they can type a comment and one of you can read out at the end of the class if there are any questions. And then a couple of devotees have volunteered, one devotee online and Deepthi Mataji also, to just paraphrase the answers and put it there in the comment. So whoever watches it later or if you are actually watching it again, they are there permanently if you'd like to go through them. So that's the plan. We are starting now, so expect some hiccups. Okay, so today let's continue our discussion in Brihadbhagavatamrita, chapter 2. So in the first chapter, we saw Narada Muni first going to a holy place called Prayag. And there he witnesses the worship of a Brahmana. And at the end of his worship, brihadbhagavatamrita. At the end of the worship, Narada Muni exclaims, "O the most favored devotee of Krishna." And in response to that comment by Narada Muni, the Brahmana refutes, saying he is very miserly, he is very fallen, and he is just giving whatever Krishna has given him, and that too not in full, just a little token of gratitude, token of appreciation he is actually offering. So he said he is not so great, and he compares himself to another king in South India, who he addresses as Maharaja. As we were discussing, Maharaja means they are not emperors, they are not ruling the whole world or the whole kingdom. As we were saying, this particular pastime, actually this whole part 1 of this book, it happens during the time of Pandavas, which means this book was actually narrating about the pastimes that happened 5,000 years ago. And during that time, the emperor was Yudhishthir Maharaj. So, which means it happened after the Kurukshetra war. So, that's when Yudhishthir Maharaj becomes the emperor of the whole world. So, during this time, when Narada Muni hears about the South Indian king, he goes to South India to meet this king. And true to the words of the Brahmana, Narada Muni could see how his whole kingdom is flourishing, even without them having to till the ground. The rice crops they were growing abundantly. Srila Prabhupada always says that the best time for rain to happen is at night time, and daytime there is plenty of sunshine. Prabhupada says that's good for agriculture. Daytime, if it's raining, Prabhupada says that's a sign there's going to be a drought soon. So Prabhupada always says the rain, they are best if they come at night. So in this kingdom, when Narada Muni was there, he could see the rain blessing the land at night time, and daytime there was like plenty of sunshine. So Narada Muni again, he goes to this king, glorifying him as the one best favored by the Supreme Lord, and for which he refutes again and saying, where do I stand in comparison to demigods, headed by Indra especially. And that's why we completed the first chapter. So today we are going to see the second chapter titled Divya. So if you read, by the way, the books have arrived. If any of you like to purchase a set, they'll be available outside or anytime from now on, whenever you come. The cost of the set is $70, but they'll be available from today onwards when you step out of the temple room. So the second chapter is titled Divya. Divya means heaven, like transcendental. That's Divya. So this particular chapter, it discusses devotion of two particular devotees of Krishna. One is King Indra. Indra is the name of a position. Indra means king. So sometimes Indra is addressed by the term Devendra. Deva Indra means the king of the Devas. Likewise, you might have come across Gajendra, the elephant. It's echoing. You have to let them know. So Gajendra, Gaja is elephant. Gajendra means king of elephants. You know the famous pastime when a crocodile comes and catches hold. So that's Gajendra. Gaja is elephant, and Indra means again king. So he is the king of the elephant. So this particular chapter discusses about devotion of Indra as well as Lord Brahma. Needless to say, when Narada Muni goes, observes what happens in Indraloka, he glorifies Indra, and after he glorifies Indra, Indra directs him to Lord Brahma. And then Narada Muni would actually go to Brahma to glorify him, and then it will continue from that point. Brahma will lead him to Shiva. Shiva will, likewise, you'll see Prahlad Maharaj, and then Hanuman, Pandavas, and then it goes all the way. Yadus, Uddhava, and then finally it ends in Gopis. That's how the whole 7 chapters finish. That's the quickest prelude to what is about to come. So, but basically this particular chapter discusses about devotion of Indra and Brahma, and today let us see if we can cover Indra's devotion. Now, Indra is a position. Our current Indra's name is Purandara. That's the name of our current Indra. So Narada Muni, after getting the news about Indra's devotion from the South Indian king, he goes to heavenly kingdom to see Indra. And when he goes to see Indra, he sees in the big assembly of the Indra, of the demigods, he could see everyone is assembled and a lot of worship is being offered to Supreme Lord Vamanadev. So if you recollect, Vamana, that's the name of the Supreme Lord who scaled this entire universe in 3 steps, conquest over Bali, and returns back the kingdom that belongs to Indra, which is rightfully his. So since that pastime onwards, Vamanadev, he is also residing there. You will see Vamanadev residing in the kingdom of Bali Maharaj also you will come across. Sutala planet you will come across that. But Vamana is also staying there as Upendra. Upendra means Upaindra, younger brother of Indra. So one of Vamanadev's name is Upendra. So that's the name of the Lord who is residing in the heavenly kingdom right next to Indra as his younger brother. So when Narada Muni goes to this assembly, he sees Upendra seated there and he is worshipped by different demigods there who is offering words of praise, prayers. You will come across 2 words. You may sometimes come across this word stava and sometimes stuti, like falastuti or stava mala. Stava means prayers. Stuti means glorification. Now sometimes prayers also may glorify, but prayers also may sometimes, like if you take Lal Samai prayers or Dainya Bodhika prayers, rather Dainya Bodhika, if you see, they will just express one's humble fallen condition. So it's not directly a praise for the Supreme Lord. Whereas if you take Stuti, Stuti is out and out only glorification. Whereas prayers can be, there are like 10 different types of prayers. It's a different topic we can discuss some other time, but not all prayers directly glorify all the time. Sometimes it talks about our fallen condition, sometimes it discusses about what pain you go through, so many different things. Okay, but stava means prayers, stuti means glorification. So stava here refers to the prayers that all these different demigods, sages, they are all offering to the Supreme Lord. So when Narada Muni sees this is the scene, he goes to this assembly in search of Indra to glorify him because he wanted to glorify him as the one who is most favored by the Supreme Lord. And here he is seeing Supreme Lord himself being worshipped. All the sages are there, demigods are there, and they are all watching him, being glorified, being worshipped. In deity worship, there are 2 different types of offerings you will see. Like if you take our Archana process that we do in our temple, we offer 16 items. Sodasha Upachar, it's given. There is a more elaborate offering, it's 64 items are also offered. Both are authorized, both are coming from the Vedic scriptures only. So here he sees a very elaborate worship that's being offered to Upendra. And as he is being fanned, he is being offered words of praise. He looks at each one of them very lovingly. Imagine today is your birthday and you have all your family members, friends and everyone surrounded. And you would sit there and each one is actually giving you gifts, each one is glorifying you. And then you would say some sweet words in return. Imagine you have Radha Gopinath with you and you are celebrating their birthday. They have accepted the birthday cake. Imagine, take a moment to think, what is it that you would like Gopinath and Srimati Radharani to tell you about you? So many things coming to our mind, but we would want to hear something where the Supreme Lord is acknowledging our tiny little devotion, correct? That's something we would want. Like, if he says, "Oh Rati Mataji, I'm very pleased with your devotion." That's the kind of feedback we would like to hear. Or Ravi Prabhu, I'm very pleased with your prasadam distribution. Tony Prabhu, I'm very pleased with your prasadam distribution in Newtown, like that. So when you hear these words of glorification, not really glorification, rather acknowledgement from the Supreme Lord, how much you will be pleased. We'll feel, yes, this is the confirmation that Supreme Lord is accepting whatever offerings I have been making all along. So this is the scene which Narada Muni is seeing when he goes to that assembly, and this is what he's seeing there. Everyone is there, everyone is offering. Vamana Dev's wife's name is Kirti Devi. As everyone is offering words of glorification to Supreme Lord, offering him praise, offering him different items of worship, at that time, Kirti Devi, she is offering betel nut. She is folding and she is offering Krishna with Achyuta Prabhu. That's disturbing. So, Kirti Devi, she is folding it, and she is offering it to Vamana Dev. Prabhupada says in one place, if you see Radha Madhav, if you go to Mayapur, you will see Chota Radha Madhav, you will see Radharani holding the tambula in her hands like this. Have you seen that? Like betel leaf with some ingredients folded, and she offers like this. Next time you see Chota Radha Madhav in Mayapur, Chota deities, there you can actually see Radharani is holding like this and she is offering. And Prabhupada says, whenever Srimati Radharani offers like that to Krishna, Krishna never leaves her. So here, Kirti Devi, she is also offering this to Vamana Dev. Vamana Dev is actually accepting it and he is eating. Description is given, he used his thumb and the forefinger to take that and eat like that. And he feels very happy. Like that. So here, this is what she is offering tambula to Supreme Lord. He is getting it and he is accepting her offering like that. So this is the scene which Narada Muni sees. He goes, sees in the assembly, Vamana Dev is right there, accepting all the offerings, and then being worshipped by the different demigods, sages like that. And then Kirti Devi, who is the wife of Vamana Dev. She is also Lakshmi Ji, but depending on the personality of Godhead, you will see some different names also that's given. Like we say Lakshmi Narayan. If it's Mahavishnu, we call the consort of Mahavishnu as Mahalakshmi. Like that. Like that here, Vamana Dev's wife, who is the supreme goddess of fortune, her name is Kirti Devi. So this is what he says. Narada Muni knows the etiquette because here he comes to glorify Indra and he sees Indra glorifying Vamana Dev. So he waits until the worship gets over. And the conclusion of the worship, Indra is feeling very grateful for what Vamana Dev had done, because if you look at the whole appearance of Vamana Dev, the background is Bali Maharaj, he has taken away Indra's kingdom and he has appointed demons in the place of different demigods. So this winter is very cold, you would like not to have winter at all, like this, you would have like a beautiful day always. So he was controlling the weather, he was controlling everything. And even during the sacrificial offering, Indra was not even getting anything, his sacrificial offering. It's mentioned that he was suffering from hunger and thirst during that time because no offering was actually going to him. So this is the position where Indra was, and in order to relieve him of this pain of being bereft of everything, his parents, who is Kashyapa and Aditi, they offer prayers to Krishna, especially Aditi. And in answer to her prayers, the Supreme Lord, he comes down as agreeing to be her son. And then he goes, conquers Bali Maharaj through cheating, transcendental cheating. What do they say? In all is fair in love and war. So somehow he cheats, he gets it, and he gives it back to Indra. So Indra is remembering that. In that gratitude, Indra has got 1,000 eyes actually. His whole body has got eyes. Tears are shedding from, it's given each one of his 1,000 eyes. So this is how grateful Indra is feeling. And as Vamana Dev goes, everyone is accompanying, following all the demigods. And then Vamana Dev just goes to his place and everyone is just seated there. Or rather they're standing there watching. Just like when you have a very beloved guest and they are going, you don't want them to leave you. But at the same time, you also know you can't stop them completely. That was their position. They don't want Vamana Dev to go completely, and at the same time, they also can't stop him. So this is the position. They are watching him, and as they are watching him, he just goes. And when this scene clears, when Indra turns, now Narada Muni proclaims, "O most favored devotee of the Supreme Lord, even the Supreme Lord is your younger brother, and he is giving you so much association, accepting your offerings." And now Narada Muni repeats all the glorifications which the South Indian king had narrated about Indra. So we'll go through each one of them and we will see how Indra will in turn refute that none of these glorifications are true. When we sometimes hear glorifications, what is our mood? Will we react like Indra, the South Indian king, and the king or the Brahmana in Prayag? Or we will tell people, please keep on. Is that all you know about me? Please keep going. What is our mood? One devotee, we can never hear enough of our glories. One devotee asked me, here we see different levels of devotees. So who is the perfect devotee here? Good question. How do we understand who is the best here? Because Narada Muni finds some reason to glorify a particular devotee and the devotee just highlights his own faults and directs Narada Muni to a next devotee like that. So when we come across even in Shastras sometimes, or even in this Shastra, when we will conclude Gopis are the topmost devotees. Now how are we supposed to worship all the other devotees who Narada Muni met? Could be Hanuman, could be Shiva, could be Brahma, Indra. So Prabhupada explains, generally the mood of the devotee is they always feel they are the most fallen. They genuinely feel they are the most fallen. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishnuna, we should feel ourselves lower, humbler than the straw in the street. Why straw in the street and not normal grass? Normal grass, even if you stamp, you walk away, it will stand up again. Only the straw in the street, you stamp, you walk away, it just remains like that. And we should be even more humbler than that. Is that how we are? In Nectar of Instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami, he explains 3 different types of devotees. Might have come across this before, but it's a Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama. Now again, you will come across 2 words. Adhikari and then Bhakta. So sometimes you will come across Kanishta Adhikari, Kanishta Bhakta, Madhyam Adhikari, Madhya Bhakta. Adhikari means one who is qualified. So just because somebody has a qualification doesn't mean they will act in that platform. Understand? This is based on one's behavior. If you call somebody as a Bhakta, that's based on behavior. Adhikari means somebody who has the qualification but not necessarily have to behave on that platform. Okay, I always give this example. If you take somebody who's a MBA graduate, they have studied business, but that doesn't automatically make them as a successful businessman. An MBA graduate is an Adhikari. A successful businessman is a Bhakta, equivalent. Likewise, Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. If you call somebody as a Madhyama Adhikari, the person may be initiated, may be in shelter of a guru, but may not act humbly, befitting the position of a devotee in that platform. Does that make sense? So that's how we see. However, the point of discussion is not these 2 terms. Point of discussion here is, if you look at Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita, text number 5, you can read it at your leisure. I'll just touch on that. That verse actually talks about 3 different types of devotees. The verse itself actually says, Krishnesi yasya giridam manasadriyata dikshasti chet praniti bicha bhajantamisham sushrushaya bhajana vigyam ananyamanyai nindadi shunya hirdam ipshita shanga labdva. So it says how we are supposed to, first of all, recognize whether somebody is Kanishta, Madhyama or Uttama. Point number 1. How are we supposed to respect them? Understanding which position the devotee actually fall under. If you see somebody as Kanishta, who is a Kanishta? The Prabhupada would call in some places the topmost devotee, intermediary, beginning level, or a neophyte devotee. In some place, Prabhupada would call Uttama as 1st class, 2nd class, 3rd class. So let's use the term neophyte. A neophyte devotee or a beginning level devotee, who is he? When this question was asked to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually says, if you take a group of people and in the group of people, someone says the name Krishna even once. If somebody says the name Krishna even once, then you consider them as a devotee. You mentally offer, you can go, you can take darshan. You mentally, Achyuta, you need to put a sign outside, open the door. So Kanishta means somebody among a group of people who is chanting the name of Krishna, even a little, somebody who says Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you should immediately mentally offer them respects. So how do we offer respects to Kanishta Adhikari? Anyone, if anyone comes to temple, anyone says Krishna anywhere in the world you go, you mentally offer them respects, which means in your mind you offer them respect. You still treat them respectfully, as if you are paying obeisances right in front of them. That's mental obeisances. So, Krishneti yasya giridam manasadriyata. With manasa, we are offering respects to Kanishta. And who is Kanishta? Anyone in any crowd, they say Krishna even once. This is definition Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives. There's much more details that's there. I'll come to that shortly. Madhyama means, who is Madhyama? Somebody who has taken up to chanting the holy name of the Lord seriously, sincerely. Dikshasti. Most important, they are initiated by a bona fide spiritual master. Such a person who is practicing Krishna consciousness properly, who is being guided by a bona fide spiritual master, and who is also involved in worshipping the deities, which means the second initiated in our line. That's Madhyama. Provided they do all of that, plus there are other symptoms also that's given. How does a Madhyama Adhikari deal with the devotees? I'll come to that later. That's Madhyama. Uttama means all of what Madhyama does, plus most important qualification for Uttama Adhikari is their heart is very pure and they are free from criticizing tendency. So if you watch carefully each one of them, you don't categorize a devotee based on their bhakti with Krishna, because we are not in a position to judge anyone's bhakti, correct? You look at someone, how much love they have for Krishna, how much bhakti they have for Krishna, that's up to, only Krishna knows that. It will be impudent of us to comment on that even. What to speak of categorizing someone. Understand? Whereas here Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama, they are actually given based on, not on their level of bhakti. All three of them, they have very good relationship with Krishna. Okay, Kanishta means one who knows how to. Third class devotee means one who knows how to deal with Krishna only. One who knows about deity worship only. They don't know how to deal with Krishna Bhaktas. Okay, so all three, they know how to deal with Krishna. So that's not how you categorize them. So you keep Krishna out of this equation. So God is not in this equation, how you classify. This is given by God himself. He says, I have no problem with everyone. Is there anyone here who has issue with Gopinath? Put your hand up. But if I tell you, is there anyone here who has any problem with any other devotee in this community? I think so. Put your hands up, all our hands will go up. So issue here is not with our love and devotion. Everyone loves Krishna. How many of you have watched Little Krishna cartoon? Anyone? Anyone watched? Yeah. Everyone loves Krishna. Everyone loves Radharani. But we have issues dealing with devotees. So depending on one's maturity, how one can deal with Krishna's devotees, that's what's gonna dictate in what category we are gonna fall under. Whether we are third class, second class or first class. Third class devotee means they have zero dealings. They think, I know Krishna, I can know. Do you know me? I'm such a great devotee. You don't know? Please let me explain about my own glories. That's Kanishta. Totally self-centered person who thinks he or she is the greatest devotee of the Lord. But here we are seeing repeatedly, really advanced devotees, they feel very, very humble. The more one advances in bhakti, more humble ones become. The more learned a person is, more humble the person becomes. Vidya dadati vinayam, it's given. The more one has vidya, the more one has humility and peace at heart. The more one is half-baked in one's understanding, the more one tends to become very egoistic that way. Okay, so Kanishta Adhikari means one who can deal with only Krishna and not with devotees at all. They don't know anything about how to deal with Krishna. Madhyama, on the other hand, they know how to deal with 4 different personalities in 4 different ways. First, Ishware Tad Adineshu, they know how to worship the Supreme Lord. Balisheshu Dvisatchucha, they know how to deal with the devotees. So they know how to deal with the Lord, they know how to deal with devotees, they know how to deal with people who are innocent, as well as how to deal with those who are envious. To Supreme Lord, they offer very nice worship. To devotees, they actually develop good friendship with them. To innocent people, they actually show mercy. And to those who are envious, they just avoid them. They don't fight with them, they just avoid them, because it's just an emotion somebody goes through, so you wait until they become little bit more innocent, and then they will also be giving them mercy. Just because they are avoiding doesn't mean they are actually reciprocating with envy. One of the names for Yudhishthir Maharaj, one of the Pandavas, his name is Ajata Shatru. Ajata Shatru means he for whom no enemy is born. But here we see, Mahabharata says 500 million soldiers, they got killed in Kurukshetra war. And he is one of the king, the king who won. Duryodhana was his enemy. But actually Duryodhana was treating Yudhishthira as his enemy, but Yudhishthir wasn't treating Duryodhana as his enemy. Okay, that's why envious means somebody may be envious of you. Doesn't mean you have to be envious of them. Again, but you stay away. Okay, if you see a snake like that, what do? Snake is generally known for its anger. Even without provoking it, it just comes hissing. So what do? Fight with it? Run away from it, basically. That's what you do. So envious means you avoid. So Madhyama Adhikari, second class devotee, means they know how to worship with Lord. Kanishta Adhikari knows only how to worship with Lord. Kanishta doesn't know how to deal with them. Madhyama means they know how to deal with the devotees. They make friendship with the devotees. They understand mercy of the Lord only comes through the devotees. They understand service of Krishna is incomplete without serving his devotees. Krishna is known as Bhakta Vatsala. And innocent people, whoever who comes to Krishna wanting to perform bhakti, they teach them how to perform bhakti. They guide them. They give them their kripa, their mercy. That's why we say bhakti is not achieved. It is awarded. It is given to us. We are here because some Krishna Bhakta or some point they have spoken to us about Krishna. Someone has actually guided us. This is how you go to temple. I'm pretty sure most of you will have experience coming to temple. I remember coming to this temple first time in 2006. I just went to the park searching for the temple. Where is the temple? I came through the road. They just keep going straight. I was looking for some, tomb, Gopuram. Where is the temple? I went past Radha Gopinath's temple there, and from that angle I'm seeing Radha Krishna temple. Then I came back again, crossed the road. Somebody guided. Envious, again, we avoid for obvious reasons. Uttama Adhikari, they will know how to do all of this, but they actually won't see who is envious, who is innocent, and who is the devotee. They are so pure at heart, they see all living entities same. Which means even if an envious person comes, they'll show love. A devotee comes, they'll show love. A person who is very innocent, they come, they show love. They are so pure at heart, they know how to offer topmost bhakti to the Lord, and they also know how to offer topmost dealings with other fellow human beings. For that matter, all living entities. They don't even harm any plants, birds, you name it, reptiles, insects, worms, none of them. So Uttama Adhikari, again, this is his position or her position, can be a Vaishnava or a Vaishnavi, but this is Uttama Adhikari. Uttama Adhikari, again, by definition, they don't discriminate. This person is a devotee, this person is envious, this person is innocent. They don't make any such distinction. They deal with everyone with the same. They don't have any criticizing mentality at all. They don't criticize at all. Now for Kanishta Adhikari, how do we offer respects? Mentally. Madhyama Adhikari, how do you offer respects? By actually offering Pranam, Panchanga Pranam, Ashtanga Pranam, bowing down or falling flat fully. That's how you offer respects. Uttamadhikari, you go and take guidance from them. You go and serve them. You go and seek some instructions from them. So this is Uttamadhikari. Understand? So this is how the dealings of each one of these devotees go. This is their mood. Likewise, if you read Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita, 5th verse, you will see so many different details that Prabhupada gives. So on one platform, you can also understand them based on faith. For example, Kanishta, they just come to Krishna. Yeah, I go to every different temple. Like that, I come to Krishna. If somebody says, don't go to Krishna, they feel like, okay, I won't go to Krishna. So their faith is so shaky, and they can easily be swayed away from the path of bhakti. Whereas Madhyama, their faith is very strong. Uttamadhikari, needless to say, whoever goes, they influence everyone to become Krishna Bhaktas. That's Uttamadhikari. But everyone is a devotee. Likewise, based on knowledge, for example, knowledge of the Shastras also, they are divided. Kanishtadhikari practically has no knowledge about Shastra at all. Madhyama has knowledge of Shastras, scriptures, but not to the extent that they can engage in any philosophical debate with someone. They may do, but they may not be able to convincingly defeat the other person. So, however, because their faith is strong, even though they may get defeated in any debate or argument like that, they would still not leave the path of bhakti because their faith is strong. Uttamadhikari, on the other hand, they are expert in everything. They are expert in Shastra, they are expert in faith as well. So one is in relationship to the devotees, we can classify them. In relationship to faith, Shraddha Anusari, it's given. Shraddhavan Jana Hai, Bhakta Adhikari, Uttama Madhyama Kanishta Shraddha Anusari. There is a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita that mentions based on faith, you classify them into 3. Likewise, based on knowledge also, we can classify them into 3. Prabhupada, quoting Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he also says there is a 4th symptom with which we can also identify an Uttamadhikari. How many people is such a devotee able to bring to Krishna consciousness? That's the 4th one. Based on preaching results. How many fallen conditioned souls are they able to influence, induce to take up Krishna Bhakti? So this is the 4th criteria. And Prabhupada says this is a more visible symptom. Who is more interested in sharing Krishna consciousness with others? And that can be through book distribution, through just talking to someone, even liking a video, forwarding a nice quote of some devotee, Prabhupada, anything. So in whatever way, one is constantly, Prabhupada specifically explains in that verse, 2-3 times Prabhupada mentions this point. You can read that, Nectar of Instruction, verse 5. Prabhupada gives a lot of details there in that purport, Nectar of Instruction, verse 5, about how to identify which devotees in which stage. Prabhupada quotes from Chaitanya Charitamrita, from 11th canto of srimadbhagavatam, from other Shastras as well. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur also Prabhupada quotes. But one, Uttamadhikari means he or she constantly makes plans. How can I bring somebody to Krishna consciousness? How can I expand the preaching mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So, Prabhupada says that is a more visible, tangible sign or a symptom with which you can identify an Uttamadhikari. Okay, so this is how the classification is given. So, when we study brihadbhagavatamrita, different devotees are in different level. In fact, all of them are in Uttamadhikari level only. None of them you can say. You take Indra, you can't say Indra's faith is shaky. You cannot say that. He is Indra for a reason. Likewise, knowledge of the Shastras, we cannot say. So each one is perfect in their bhakti in their own level. And Krishna enjoys bhakti from each one of us in our own capacity. So when it comes to comparing, we don't say, Madhyama means one who is better than Kanishta. We never do that comparison. We are comparing only based on these criteria. How is their dealing with devotees, how is their faith, how is their knowledge, and how much are they eager to expand the preaching mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is how it's given. It has got nothing to do with Uttamadhikari means one who is better than Madhyama and Kanishta. We never talk like that. There is no such criteria. It's not given in Shastras at all. But interestingly, if you see, each one of them, the categorization of these devotees is not based on their relationship with Krishna. Okay, this is something we generally tend to think bhakti means with Krishna. Where is Krishna here? He is there, of course, but what is given here is everything that's related to Krishna. How are we able to deal with Krishna's paraphernalia, including devotees? Okay, Hari Parshad, it's given. Like everything that's related, like the paraphernalia, Parshad. Hari Parshad is all of them. Everything related to Krishna. How are we able to deal with all of that? That's what's going to categorize our type of devotion. Okay, not necessarily how much I'm attached to Krishna. That's not the criteria. That's between Krishna and the devotee. Does that make sense? So here, Indra, he is first of all being glorified by Narada Muni. And Narada Muni just repeats what the South Indian king had actually told him. And you will see, unlike our materialistic tendency, where we are very experts in claiming credit, even for work we didn't do. How many of you do that? All of us do all the time, in office work. One devotee asks Radhanath Maharaj in a class, Maharaj, sometimes we don't do any service much, but we get a lot of glorification. How many of you feel sometimes you receive undue glorification in life? It happens. And then the devotee asks, Maharaj, sometimes I work so hard and do service, but then no glorification comes. How many of you have that experience? And you feel someone else is taking away that? See, all of us can relate to that. Maharaj answered it. He said, just because in first scenario, you took things which doesn't belong to you. Second scenario, things which belong to you gets taken away from you. That's the reason. Just because you claim credit for something which you don't deserve, sometimes, other times when the credit is supposed to come, it's taken away from you. There has to be some compensation, right? Law of karma always works. That's the reason he says it doesn't work. So if you really want everything which you deserve, stop declining, or rather start declining, stop accepting things which doesn't belong to you. Then we will have full control in that sense. Okay? So here, you will see Indra's expertise. Normally, we are very experts in going and claiming credit for things which even we didn't do. But here, Indra so expertly picks a fault in his own attitude to decline all the glorification, one after the other. And then you will see the real mood of Indra. Okay, I'll go through some of them. He refutes each one, giving historic details, even some pastimes. I'll skim through how much ever I can. We have another 20 minutes. So here in text 9, chapter 2, Narada Muni says to Indra, you have surely received the Supreme Lord's mercy, because demigods like Surya, Chandra and Yama, what to speak of the other rulers of planets, all obey your orders. So he's saying, everyone is following, even Yamaraj, which means Indra, he is capable of sending anyone to heaven or hell, depending on their karmic balance at the end. That's his position. Of course, Krishna can overrule everything. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he is an expert in astrology, Surya Siddhanta. But he never analyzed astrological chart either for himself or for others. And when asked, despite having such expertise, why you are not doing, he says, I can do everything, but what astrological chart won't say is the Krishna factor. So whatever you can say, whatever you think you are predicting, Krishna can come and change it anytime. And you will see Prabhupada explaining about that in the 10th canto of Srimadbhagavatam. When Krishna appeared, you will see all the different signs, the ambience, they actually go against how the nature usually works. Suddenly you will see lotus and lily blooming midnight. Have you ever seen like that? It happens. Like that Brahmanas, suddenly they wake up and start to recite mantra. When I learned Homa, I was told ideal time to do Homa is before sunset. But here it's not even before sunset, it's midnight, No, practically no. Nothing is there. No light also, no moon also. But everything is happening. You will see even demons, they feel very happy at heart. Generally they are not. That's why they are called demons. Very envious. Even without any reason, they will be very envious of other people. In a very provoked, restless state they will be. But even they are feeling very peaceful at heart. Kamsa was thinking, what's happening? Why am I feeling so peaceful today? Like that. So Krishna, when he appears, even all the different planetary systems, planets, they actually realign themselves to create the most auspicious astrological position. This is their service for Krishna. So Prabhupada, when he explains that, he says, you see, at the time of Krishna's appearance, even the planets are realigning themselves. Similarly, if we take up to Krishna Bhakti, our astrological chart may say anything. Krishna will come and adjust it. You don't need to bother. So this is Prabhupada's assurance there. Okay, so here, sages like me are your subjects and Vedas praise you as the Lord of the universe. So here Narada Muni is glorifying, you not only are the king of all demigods, but even the sages like me, we also follow you. This is Narada Muni's glorification. How wonderful that Lord Narayana has become your younger brother, which is true. Then Parishit Maharaj says, the sage among the demigods thus profusely declared the extreme good fortune of Indra. As he chanted Indra's glories, he played his veena and danced. Indra then welcomed Narada and in a soft voice humbly said, my dear Narada, expert in the art of Gandharvas. Narada Muni was a Gandharva before he became Narada Muni. So he is having a friendly, humorous exchange. So you will come across, this is one problem, I always take the pen from there, put it there, I have to keep changing. Okay, you will come across personalities, especially during appearance of Krishna. Whenever there is some, music performance that's happening in heavenly kingdom, you will come across different personalities. Siddhas, Gandharvas, Vidyadharas. I'm adding. Each one of them in musical performance, in their offering of their glorification, each one perform a very specific duty. Siddhas, they usually offer stuti, glorification. They recite mantras, they recite Vedic chants. That's what Siddhas do. Gandharvas, they are singers. Vidyadharas, they play instruments. Apsaras are dancers. So sometimes we come across, they were Siddhas, Vidyadharas like that, but each one, they know their duty and each one do their service properly. So here he is saying, Indra then welcomed Narada in a soft voice saying, my dear Narada, expert in the art of Gandharvas. Gandharvas are singers. Narada Muni, even as Narada Muni, he is a great devotional singer, but even his history is also, he is a Gandharva. So he says, because they are so expert in art, they are a little tricky. Sometimes, they'll say a word, but the word will have 10 different meanings. So in that sense, Indra is actually saying, oh Narada, who is an expert Gandharva, why are you making fun of me? Are you unfamiliar with what ruling heaven means? Don't you know how many times we demigods have had to flee heaven in the fear of Daityas? Now, Indra is actually saying, my dear Narada, it may look for others, the grass is greener on the other side, but let me tell you the real story, what's happening here. Because the South Indian king, he had glorified, these are eternal kings, the demigods, to whom Supreme Lord always gives audience, and they are fixed in the mode of goodness. He's saying, no, not like that. We run in fear. We run fleeing away from our own heavenly kingdom. Running whenever Daityas means demons. Okay, Bali Maharaj, some places you will see Bali Daitya Raja, they say like that. Okay, Daitya means demons, Daitya Raja means king of demons. Bali Maharaj was so powerful. One of them, Bali, once even took over as Indra. He appointed demons to all the posts like sun god and moon god. Can you imagine? Even sun god and moon god were demons during his time, and took for himself my share of sacrifice. When you say Swaha, Indra, Swaha, yeah, I am Indra. May Indra ho, he just comes and he takes away everything. Our father and mother then performed severe penances. It's only due to their devotion, Supreme Lord agreed to appear as my brother, not because of my devotion. You understand how expertly a pure devotee diverts any glorification to others. Okay, they not only understand their own fallen condition, but they are also very expert in giving the credit to whom it's due. Very important. Both. Don't take what's not due for you. More important is you give the credit to who it is due. In one place, Prabhupada, this is in morning walk, 1976, during Gaura Purnima. They are going on morning walk, and Srila Prabhupada is saying, Sankirtan book distributors, I want to give this award. Then Harikesh Swami, his secretary at that time, he was walking and he tells to Prabhupada, there are two devotees and they distribute about 700 books each every day, big books. They are so much attached to doing this service for you that they didn't even bother to take break to come for Gaura Purnima festival. And they are the number one distributors for last year. Prabhupada says, so you need to give them Sankirtan award. So then Harikesh Swami is saying, how can we give the award? They didn't even come. Then Prabhupada says, doesn't matter, you make the certificate. Prabhupada is speaking certificate at that time. You make certificate, and the certificate should look so nice, and you then send it to them. At that time, this question was actually asked by Harikesh Swami. Prabhupada, you are giving credit to both of them. Wouldn't that discourage other people? Normally we think, right? If you give credit to someone who is doing something very well, it may discourage others. Here what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada is saying, you see, we are not here to create a classless society. And Prabhupada is saying, this is what communists try to do. Few people will work, everyone tries to take the credit. Even the few people who are working, they would start to think, why should I work? When I can just sit in home, get free dole money, get credit, what's the point in working? So rather than everyone climbing up, even the guy who is sitting at the top, he ended up climbing down. So Prabhupada says, this is what a classless society will do. So we always give credit wherever it's due. If somebody does a service nicely, we should give them the credit. So they will be encouraged to do better, and others can also follow their footsteps. Okay, so Prabhupada was very, very clear why credit has to be given. So here you can see Indra is not only declining to take the credit, but he is actually giving the credit to who it is due. In this case, his parents, Kashyapa and Aditi. And even then, first he says, Vamanadeva appeared not because of my prayer, I was suffering anyway. He appeared because of my father and mother's prayers. And after appearing, he didn't even kill. Normally when Supreme Lord comes, what does he do? He kills. Correct? When he comes, demons, that's what he has. Have you ever seen Supreme Lord coming down and he forgives someone? Okay, second chance, goes away. Have you seen that any time? Never happens. For Bali Maharaj, it happens, of course. Because to Prahlad Maharaj, Supreme Lord has already given boon. Not only you, everyone is already liberated. So later on you will also come across Dhenukasura, who also happens to one of the Banasura. Dhenukasura, reason why Krishna doesn't kill is, Dhenukasura is one of the descendant of Bali Maharaj. Acharya is right, he is ready to pounce on him, and then Krishna is thinking, Narasing Dev promised already. So he was in a dilemma. At that time, Balaram, understanding Krishna's mind, he steps forward. That's why Balaram goes and kills Dhenukasura. He will come across like that. So here, he is saying, and even Indra, instead of even after appearing, normally Supreme Lord kills. Here he didn't kill, he is going and begging and bringing it for me. I feel very embarrassed by that. So it's not like, such a great honor to be in this position. So this is Indra's point. He is saying, and even then, instead of killing those enemies, he only embarrassed me, returning my kingdom after taking it from Bali with the deceptive request for charity. We residents of heaven are tainted with faults like rivalry and jealousy. Again, he is refuting the point of the South Indian king who says, demigods, they're all fixed in Sattva Guna. He is saying, no, not like that. We also have jealousy. We also have our faults. And he highlights, in my jealousy I have killed Vishwarupa. Because of my fault I have killed, he says Brahmanas I have killed. Indra is actually taking such a humble position. Prabhupada, in one place, he says Alexander the Great. And then Prabhupada says, do you know why he's great? And then Prabhupada narrates this story. One day, as Alexander was staying in a tent, he was on a conquest to one kingdom. And when he was staying in a tent, they caught hold of a thief, petty thief, in that locality. Of all the places, he marked, the tent of Alexander to steal something. He comes to steal something and he gets caught red-handed. So they bring in front of Alexander, and then Alexander tells him, how dare you? Do you know who I am? He says, yeah, I know you are Alexander, the great emperor. How dare you steal something from mine? Then he says, I condemn you to death. Then he passes the judgment. But rather than feeling sad, this person, this culprit, he laughs out loud. Then Alexander gets puzzled and he asks, why are you laughing? Aren't you afraid? And this thief, Prabhupada says, he replied, what's the difference between you and me? You are a big thief, I'm a small thief. Like that. And then Prabhupada says, Alexander could see the point and he released him. Yeah, what he says, right? So Prabhupada says it's one thing to do mistake, but you become great when you accept the mistake and you move on. So if you see Prabhupada's mood is not to condemn at all. Prabhupada always goes for all-inclusive approach all the time. Prabhupada, in one place, I can give you a couple of examples that come to my mind. In one yatra Prabhupada goes after 4 or 5 years. He has been going many times, but he had performed initiation 3-4 visits before in that place, and one devotee who he initiated, he was having struggle practicing 4 regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds. So everyone has come inside the temple room, everyone is seated, and Prabhupada looks around and he sees one devotee standing out. He's shaven-headed, everything. And then Prabhupada asks, why is he standing? Then devotee says, Prabhupada, he has been practicing bhakti, but he's been facing a lot of difficulty. And Prabhupada calls him. And this devotee comes. And Prabhupada says, without going to detail, just Prabhupada says, whatever you have done, I forgive all of you. Now please join us. Prabhupada is so merciful. Another place, Prabhupada is writing one letter to a devotee. You are acting very independently. If you don't come and accept the authority of your local temple, then, I abandon you. I cannot actually take responsibility for you. So Prabhupada dictates a letter like that. And they are typing, Tamal Krishna Maharaj was there and he asks, Prabhupada, will you really abandon anyone? Prabhupada is saying, no, I'm saying it to inspire him to come back. So this is Prabhupada. And Prabhupada at that point says, Nityananda Prabhu, he is quoting, Nityananda Prabhu's mercy has no limits. So we are representatives of Nityananda Prabhu. So Prabhupada says, no, I will never, why will I actually abandon anyone? So Prabhupada's mood is like that. Okay, so when we represent Prabhupada, that should be our mood. We should never, differences of opinion may be there, but that doesn't mean we have to abandon anyone. Okay, so we can have difference of opinion, and it should be our culture that we protect devotees to have the difference of opinion. Okay, then it is proper culture. Not because, you don't want everyone to be here because either they feel they are forced or if they express themselves, they'll feel abandoned. Then there is no question of love, there is no question of trust. Difference of opinion can be there. We agree to disagree, but it has to be done in accordance with Vaishnava culture. There are still ways to express it. There are still, generally, Vaishnava culture is you always glorify in public. Any correction, depending on your relationship with the person, or you have to go through someone else who that devotee has a relationship and the correction has to go that way. But we often tend to do the opposite way. Yeah, actually the cooking was nice, but, and then we say, and we say everything wrong in public, or you go to Facebook, none of that is good. Okay, glorification, go to Facebook, correction, go in person. Okay, usually we tend to do the other way around, correct? So we have to be careful there. You must also know that my brother Lord Upendra intentionally disregarded me by taking from heaven the Sudharma hall and Parijata flower and bringing them to earth. There is one pastime that's given in Harivamsa, which is a pastime which is supplementary to Mahabharata. Initially, when Satyabhama, when she asks for flower, Narada Muni goes first to heavenly kingdom. And he tells to Indra, you know, Krishna is there in Dwaraka, your brother only. So Indra sees Vamana becoming Krishna. Vamana is just descending down as Krishna. This is Indra's understanding. He didn't know Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, nothing at that point. So he thinks this is my brother Vamana Dev. He has gone down to Dwaraka and he is there as Krishna. And now Narada Muni is coming asking for the Parijata flower. Parijata flower is a very special type of flower that's there in Nandana Kanana garden that grows only in heaven and it never fades. Very special flower. So then Narada Muni comes and he says, you know, can I get that flower? I want to take it to Lakshmiji, Satyabhama. Then at that time, Indra actually tells to Narada Muni, you know, my brother, when he was here, he was very good. When he went down, he became degraded as humans. You know, he tells. He is also being influenced by so many of his wives. He feels very sorry for Krishna also at that time. And he declines, he doesn't take it. Like he doesn't let Narada Muni take a Parijata flower. He says like, no. I think he's misunderstood. Only when he comes back, he can take. He says like that. Then when the news goes down, Krishna says, no problem, I'll go and take it myself. Then he comes there. He picks up not only Parijata flower, but Sudharma hall also. You know, bonus. I am coming all the way, so I need to take something special. So he takes everything and he goes. So this is that's the pastime he is recollecting here. You must also know that my brother Lord Upendra, intentionally disregarded me by taking from heaven the Sudharma hall and Parijata flower. Sudharma hall is like the assembly where the Yadus would actually assemble every day. But the assembly hall, imagine somebody comes here, you go to a hall, somebody takes the whole thing, like temple room, somebody takes it away, how will you feel? This is what Indra feels, because that was his assembly actually. Krishna comes, takes it away, extracts it and he says bye and he just goes. He takes it away to Dwaraka. So this is what he is saying. You are calling him as my younger brother, look what he is doing to me. And you are calling me as the most favored. It doesn't make any sense, he says. He ruined the worship of the cowherds I had been offering me for many years, and he burned down my favorite forest, the vast Kandava. Now he is giving his grievances. He is saying, he ruined the worship. Okay, this is fine. You know, I can forgive this, I can forgive that. You know, Brajabasis, they are offering me worship for so many years, and I've been blessing them. That also he ruined, you know, as a 7-year-old boy. Not only that, later on Agni goes and complains. You know, usually you do Homa, especially in those days, in Homa, you will study later, in Brahma Loka, it's given, there is a personality, Mahapurusha, like Mahavishnu, he is there, 1,000-headed, Sahasra Sirsha Purusha, that the Purusha Shukta we sing for him. So, it's given in Brahma Loka, the offering of Homa happens so continuously that the ghee offering that is actually done, it flows like a river into the mouth of Purusha. It's given like that. Can you imagine? Non-stop, it just like we have Akanda Harinam Kirtan. Likewise, they do Homa and he keeps on lying down and he keeps eating, drinking, literally it's given. It just enters like a river. River means continuously going, otherwise it's a pond, right? So it keeps going, so continuously they are doing. So it's given like that. So this is the offering Supreme Lord takes. But here it's given because how does the offering go to Vishnu? Through the medium of Agni. We say Swaha. Swaha is the name of Agni's wife. Okay, so when we say Swaha, when we throw the grains or offer the ghee. So because Agni has taken so much ghee, he develops some indigestion. You know, that's what's given. So he develops some indigestion and he tells to Krishna, you know, I need something for this. Then Krishna says, oh, you need to take herb. Because Agni Dev is such a big personality, Krishna gives him the forest, Kandava forest. And then everyone says, but that belongs to Indra. Krishna says, it doesn't matter. You know, we have to solve Agni's problem. Then he offers whole Kandava forest to Agni. So Agni takes everything, all the herbs, and then he feels cured. You know, his indigestion, because of the mass personality he is, he need to go take herbs on a mass scale. So that's the Kandava pastime. So here he is saying, Kandava is my own favorite forest. Krishna has burnt also by giving it to Agni. He has taken away by assembly hall. You know, he has taken away by Parijata flower. He has come down as my younger brother, but he never listens to me. He is going down and associating with humans. He stopped the worship of the cowherds to me. Like that he is saying, he has taken away my forest. How can you say that? And after all this, you are telling me I am the most favored? You can see Indra's point of view. Makes perfect sense. When the Lord was entreated to kill Vritra, who was devouring the three worlds, the Lord responded indifferently, merely sending me on his behalf. Devotees, everyone is praying, my Lord, please come and kill this demon, Vritrasura. He was swallowing, literally he was eating everything. Please kill him. Then, usually in such situation, Indra is saying, Supreme Lord himself comes and kills. Even for someone like Hiranyakashipu, who is like much smaller than him. Vritrasura, it's given, when he stood, his head is like going to the top of the universe. That's how big he was. And still for him, Krishna says, all right, you go. And he sells me, normally for sometimes you will come across when fight happens. Okay, we stand behind you. You go and fight. Then what are you doing? It's like that. He's saying, Krishna just sends me like that to fight with him. And you are saying, I am most favored. And because Indra, if you read the pastime, it's given in Bhagavatam, using Vajra, he had to kill, to sever the head of Vritrasura. It took him 1 whole year to cut his head. That's how big a personality he is. Okay, so these are the different instances he is giving. With no regard for me, he destroyed my capital, Amaravati. There is another pastime. Once Lakshmi ji, she asks, Supreme Lord, he comes in different avatars. There is one avatar of Supreme Lord called Vaikunta. When he comes, at that time, his wife, her name is Rama. Like we have for Vamana's wife is Kirti Devi. They are all different names of Lakshmi ji only. Vaikunta's wife is Rama. So she says, yeah, we have come here, but I would like our Vaikunta here. Then he says, well, we are in material world, we can create one small. She says like, no, I want exact same Vaikunta in this material world. So Vishnu creates one separate Vaikunta even above Lord Brahma's Satyaloka. It's called Ramapriya, the name of the, where's the pen? The name of that Vaikunta, it's called Ramapriya. Rama here refers to Lakshmi ji. It's not Rama, it's Rama. Ramapriya. That's the name of that spiritual planet. So it's there on top of Brahma Loka. So Indra is saying, he destroyed my capital, Amaravati. Amaravati is the name of Indra's capital. Amaravati is the name of Andhra Telangana. Amaravati. Okay, so it's there in South India also. There is a city by that name. It's a capital for a city. It's one of them, either Andhra or Telangana. One of them, capital is Amaravati, I think, if I'm not wrong. But this Amaravati is different. Indra's capital in heavenly kingdom, that's also called Amaravati. So he says, with no regard to me, he destroyed my capital Amaravati and built a new residence above all others for himself. Meaning he built a separate Vaikunta planet. This is Dhruva planet is also Vaikunta planet. Vishnupada, it's called. That name is Vishnupada. When Vishnu used to reside there, Shirodakashai Vishnu, when he gives it to Dhruva Maharaj, from that point it came to be known as Dhruva. Likewise, he built one for Supreme Goddess of Fortune, Lakshmi ji, and he gifted it to her. He gives it to everyone. So this is called Ramapriya. And this planet is even above. Dhruva planet is below. 3-4 planets from Satyaloka, where Lord Brahma lives. This one is even above all the 14 planetary system. So he says like that. Okay, I'll stop here. There's a few more refutations he gives, and then he directs Narada Muni to Lord Brahma. We'll see that next week. Any questions, either here or online?
There are 3 online.
Anyone here first? Yes.
Thank you very much for the class. And my question is about previous picture which you performed. I just opened it in phone. About 3 levels of bhakta, like Kanishta, 3 levels of Adhikari, Kanishta,
Madhyama and Uttama.
And my question is, you performed for us different classification. How we can recognize it? By
Shraddha.
Devoted faith, knowledge, and preaching.
Yep.
And my question is, where is Nishtha? Where it belongs to, for what of?
Nishtha, you mean?
Nishtha,
Yep.
like stable devotional service. I'm not sure, am I right or no, because I heard that it's qualification of Madhyama, but the question is, where it belongs to?
Yep, good question. So, when we classified Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama,
And sorry, probably just, I will little bit tell what I mean, like Sadhana Nishtha, like when we come to when we perform program even at home, not only in the temple, for example, once we call, like when devotee becomes stable in his personal spiritual practice, like something like that. Okay.
So, question here is, I was mentioning there are 3 categories of devotees, Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama, and we saw few ways how they are categorized according to Shastras. What I have mentioned, it's not the complete way. There are many other ways that are given, but the question here is about how can we understand their because the categorization we saw, it's based on the dealings with the devotees, we saw based on how is their faith, how is their shastric knowledge, how is their preaching. So question here is, how can we understand the steadiness of these devotees based on sadhana nishta? How strong are they in sadhana? Kanishta Adhikaris, of course, needless to say, their sadhana is very weak. Madhyama, their sadhana is fixed. Uttama Adhikari, their sadhana is spontaneous. Spontaneous means gopis, they don't chant 16 rounds. They don't even count. But they chant Krishna's name in every breath, even in between breath also. So that's spontaneous bhakti. So Uttama Adhikari means, that doesn't mean they neglect sadhana bhakti. They do, but they don't do it as a sadhana. They love doing it so much that they keep on doing it forever because they like to do. They don't do it just to fill sadhana card. They don't chant the rounds just to pull one beat saying, oh, I finished 1 round, 2 round like that. They do bhakti in such a way that they understand fully and they completely realize. Like when we chant Hare Krishna, we say, my Lord, please engage me in your devotional service, oh energy of Lord. This is, we say it mechanically. Many times when we chant, our mood is when it's going to finish. But when Uttama Adhikaris, when they chant, my Lord, please engage me in your service, it's literally a statement. They understand this is what I'm actually saying. So they don't even see difference between their sadhana, seva, their lifestyle. Everything is one. Whereas there is always a gap between who we are and who we want to be. Okay, that's the categorization in regard to Nishta. Like that we can analyze, as I said, in so many different ways. I was just giving this just in relation to the 5th text of Upadeshamrita. Okay, because that particular verse, Srila Rupa Goswami, he specifically gives how to identify them, and then Prabhupada, to elaborate that, he gives all these references. Yes, Mataji. Anyone else here? Okay, online.
So we have one devotee who would like to book a set of Bhagavatam.
Okay, one devotee who would like to book a set of brihadbhagavatam. Oh, sure.
Krishna Dharmadas Prabhu.
Yep.
Shiko Prabhu is asking, Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandat Pranam, what's the difference between 3 different forms of Vaman Dev in Vaikuntha, Heaven and Sutol?
There is no difference that is actually given. It's just that Supreme Lord, you will come across Avatar Tattva. We'll come to that later when we go to part 2. It's the same Supreme Lord, but he has his expansion everywhere. And later on, we haven't touched that verse yet. Indra himself would actually say, this Vaman Dev, even though from outside we think he's permanently living in heaven, he says, this Vamana Dev, I don't even know whether he's with me or with Bali Maharaj, or is he in Svetadvipa, or is he in Vaikuntha, I don't know. He just keeps moving, he's not here all the time. Because one glorification which the South Indian king gives is, whenever Indra offers oblation in a homa, Supreme Lord himself comes and he accepts the offering. So we think he's always with him, because he's his brother. But Indra says, whenever Supreme Lord appears, he appears like a flash, accepts it, at the blink of the eye, he just vanishes again. He doesn't even wait longer, he says like that. So Supreme Lord is not staying in one place. Only one place where he's always present is Vrindavan. Every other place he just comes, he is present, but he is not visible all the time. That's the question. Next question.
Generally it is said for preaching, even if one is in Uttama level, comes to Madhyama level, where they distinguish between devotees to preach. Please clarify this point.
Okay. Good question. So, one point that's given is between Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama. Kanishta, of course, they don't preach at all. Madhyama and Uttama, Because Kanishta, they cannot discriminate because they don't have enough knowledge. They don't know who to preach, what to say, when, nothing they know. Because of that reason only, they usually burn bridges with devotees. They don't even consider devotees properly. That's Kanishta. So we have to understand where we are. If we can't deal with the devotees properly, that means we are still struggling there. Our sadhana may be strong. We may even be preaching to people. But as far as dealings with the devotees, we can still be in Kanishta level. Does that make sense? We can never become Uttama. Uttama means complete package. Everything has to be perfect. Madhyama, Shastric knowledge is not as strong as Uttama, but it's still almost there. Kanishta means weak, but Madhyama can actually have traits of Kanishta also. Okay. Radhesham Prabhu, he says in one class, we are devotees now, but we shouldn't think, I'm practicing devotee for 20 years, 30 years, so, I can relax a bit. Why? Because we became devotees after so many millions of lifetimes as karmis. We have no devotion. We may even be demons, anything. So he says, in order to stop being a devotee, you just have to stop chanting. But in order to be a karmi, you don't need to do anything. You are automatically default script there, you will go there. Does it make sense? You don't need to make any plan to become a non-devotee. It's very easy to go there. So he says, because our conditioning is to go back there all the time, we should never stop doing bhakti. So we should never think, I've been practicing bhakti long enough, so I can relax a bit. No, we should actually intensify the bhakti as time goes. Because our life, our past memory, samskar, as a non-devotee is much more stronger. How much, if you close your eyes, how much are we able to think about Krishna? We need to exert ourselves to think about Krishna. But every guy who we fought with, in our life, everyone who we are upset with, have you got that experience? You sleep, you wake up, first thing you will remember is just, why him, or why she, whatever. Because our samskars, mental impressions of bad karma is much more stronger. So we have to constantly keep fighting. We should never slack in our bhakti. Coming to this point, same way, somebody from Kanishta coming to Madhyama, the traits of Kanishta is still there because it's almost being a non-devotee. You have Krishna bhakti only, but we don't know. Dealing with Krishna, how often do we deal with Krishna in our life? You take in a 24-hour period of a devotee, of a Hare Krishna devotee. How often do you talk to Gopinath? If at all, every day. 5 minutes maybe, 10 minutes. How often do you talk to devotees? All the time. So our dealings with the devotees, that is where we will actually see our maximum progress actually happens. That's where our maximum challenge is. Okay, so we have to understand this is where a lot of our work needs to happen. Now coming to the question, Kanishta, because they are weak, Madhyama is there, he may still have the traits, but the question is different. The question is, Uttama, because they don't see anyone as devotee, non-devotee, they cannot preach. Does that make sense? Because they don't discriminate. They see everyone as same, which means they don't preach. In order to preach, generally it is said they come to Madhyama level to preach. Prabhupada is Uttamadhikari. But in order to preach, he has to actually see, okay, this person is a devotee, this person is a non-devotee, I need to focus on him to preach. That doesn't mean Uttamadhikari becomes a Madhyamadhikari person. It's not like a switch. Okay, today I'm going for preaching class, switch it on. Tomorrow switch it off, not like that. For our understanding, it's given like that. Okay, that they have to think like a Madhyama to see, okay, this person is a devotee, this person is a non-devotee, okay, I need to give mercy here. So they need to see that. Otherwise, somebody in Uttamadhikari platform, Srimati Radharani, you take any pure devotee, Goswamis, they see everyone, even ants, you say Mrigari, it's said, he is a hunter, he doesn't even see distinction between humans and non-humans. Even for a little ant, he is waiting for it to cross. This is his platform. Why will he preach to anyone? So if in that level, we cannot actually really preach. So Uttamadhikari, when we talk about preaching, we tend to think sitting and giving classes preaching. That's one way. That's why I said preaching means there are zillion ways. You can preach even without talking. You can preach just by your gesture. You can preach just by your behavior. Example is better than precept. You can preach simply by distributing food without any word spoken, without any philosophy spoken. Okay, so we have to understand preaching, we should not confine it just for a classroom session. That's just one of the zillion ways to do. Okay? Any other question? We'll finish. Okay, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Sri Sri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki, Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki, Jai Sri Sri Gauranitai ki, Jai Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Sri Sri Radha Gopinath's devotees ki, Jai devotees in YouTube ki, Jai Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Lakshmi Japataka please go to the restaurant and Ravi Prabhu will have the prasadam ready for you.